Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sector 318C, a special map for Tank Tom and myself, where we both completed our road. We've got a bit of an interesting one for you. Some might call it a comedy of mistakes, others might call us the thrashing we deserve after so many good wins. But let's run ourselves into this one. If you want some highly critical analysis, that's exactly what you're going to get because we've had our asses handed to us by a chronographer for exactly what we did wrong. So notes incoming. Joining me in the cast is Tank Tom and Twig. Twig on the AllReasonNoLogic account in the orange trunks. So, interesting map we've got here. Asymmetrical in its offense and defense. Our bottom side of the map is our strong side. 3 players at the front with a tech behind. The top side is the weak side. 3 players at the front with an air player behind, going up against their 4 players. Bit of an island at the top where we have a very difficult position for Tank Tom to push into. Island for myself, that is a hard position to push into. And Twig has the open lane. This is one of the best places to make the plays. And the question is, do we? Probably not as much as we should have.
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky night for us. It's one of those nights where we I don't know if we just weren't gelling well. We definitely play as a team. We're in Discord together. I'm making excuses right now, which I definitely shouldn't. But we just didn't quite play like we usually do. After a streak of quite a few wins as a trio, getting up to the 28 OS, we want to try and get to that 30 as quick as possible. But this is where our road kind of hits a bit of a roadblock.
So let's jump in right from the very get-go and talk about some of the things that we've done wrong. So, Tank Tom, why have you chosen vehicles in this position?
I went with vehicles because if I could get the like up that hill, I'd be able to hold easier with them. I wasn't exactly sure whether that was the right call at the time, and at the moment it seems fine enough. But you'll see as we continue that it probably wasn't necessarily the best. I don't know whether I would have been better off with the bots to try and get up there to establish myself, but that was at least the thinking at the start of the game.
So one of the things about the bots versus vehicle arguments here, if you're going to make the vehicle play and you're going to try and hold that high ground, you need to establish yourself with the right units to get up there. You've gone with the early blitzers to do some damage. One of them's in the right spot, but the others are trailing behind, and you can see the comm is coming into contact with it. Take a little bit of damage here, and that's actually gonna be quite painful. That first unit is actually impactful. These ones may get through, they may not, but the important part is that you can see right now that the green player has gone to the front very quickly. He's gonna have pole position, so that vehicle play, I would say, probably isn't going to work out because the time it takes to run up those ramps is very, very high. When you compare that to the other side of the map, you've got the highest OS player is going with a similar strategy of getting something beefy up and above onto those positions, but is doing it with vehicles and the Centurions, which is, I honestly, if I was in your position, I almost would have gone vehicles but not tried to assault the position. I'd have gotten myself some Wolverines and just made it hell to live up here. But that's the other half of it is to try and go bots and get up there quickly. But the reality is this is going to be a hard position to hold. So whichever way you go, it's not you are expecting to be on the defensive. Myself in the middle, I've gone vehicles. Oh, sorry, I've gone bots. I think that was a mistake. I should have gone vehicles out of the gate for the exact same reasons that I'm talking about. And one of the reasons that I can call you on your choices is because I made the wrong choices too, and I've thought about it for myself. Twig has gone vehicles, and ironically, I actually reckon bots would have been the right choice in the middle because Twig has a very aggro play style in a map like this. Very good control with his rocket bots, but then also great run bys with his lighter units. So I think from the get-go, we sort of set ourselves up in a bad position here by not thinking about our strategy, not synergizing what we were going to do, and then not making use of what we had.
Yeah. It's a tricky one. I mean, Tom, you still got the aggression. You're still managing to find your way up there, taking out 1 mech. So I don't mind that trade, just getting 1 unit for 1 mech. But I reckon Prey has hit the nail on the head with what to do here. If you go on vehicles and you don't get much more than those as early assaults, hold them back. Hold them back, pork up a bit, and yeah, maybe change up your tactic, get a bit more eco, and yeah, really. Once
Now,
this
let's
lane
talk
gets
about
pork
this.
up, like,
Let's talk about this assault that's
somewhere
going
else.
on right now. Engagements here are critical. One thing to bear in mind is that when you're fighting pawns, the team which is moving backwards has a huge advantage on the team that's moving forward. It's just the way Plasma works. The what we had was a decent enough sized push, but because of the positioning, because of because Lilac is pushing down to help, it's not enough. We're doing a bit of damage in the base, but we're also giving a large metal dono, and I don't know who's going to get this metal, but they've cleaned this one up, and we haven't done the damage that we needed to do there. I actually reckon it would have been more appropriate for us to back out in that situation, wait till we had a little bit more siege, and then start pushing in, because the thing that we're defending against right now is two LLTs. So all we have to do is push those down, and then we can suddenly bring to bear the Stouts, we can bring to bear the Whistlers, we can bring to bear the Janus, and Janus would clean up these pawns like nothing else. In my lane, this player is just building a very large amount of pork. I've held back for too long. I've grabbed myself some LLTs on the low ground. Could be good, could be bad, but I mostly built those in response to seeing what Lilac had sent down to help defend. This area here feels reasonably safe for me, but it's not somewhere that I'm going to be able to push into. And if you can scout this area, whether you get an air scout, whether you send a couple of light units in, just to get vision, this is the point where rather than building the units I'm currently building, I should have already gone into the vehicle lab and just grabbed myself a handful of Wolverines. With the LLTs here, with the Wolverines, I think I should be quite safe against a lot of attacks, especially with the comm. Just to start laying down fire, I could have had those Wolverines out here now instead of the 6 thugs and 7 Rocketeers.
Yeah,
And then I could have just
1600
abandoned this
metal.
lane. I could have abandoned this lane.
And you
Just
know you're
completely.
against a slightly lower experienced player, and chances are, if you build one of those, what do they call it, the sneaky Petes, and block what's here, they're probably just not going to have the experience to know to push, and that is where you can just follow in, push this lane.
Just gonna
like we're
call
doing.
I'm just going to call something out really quickly. See how I've built 4 wind on the front line? Just bear that one in mind for something that's going to happen later in the game. Everyone in the Twig and Tank Tom know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm using my Rocketeers to shell up. These are not the right units to do this. They are and they aren't. They will do just fine against what's there now, but I don't have vision. And there's about to be an agitator on top, and you know in this position there's going to be an agitator. Twig's going in again with the Stouts,
He came with me, bro.
but again, unsupported.
Yeah.
What if my units were there with him?
If this play here is just building
Tom's
porks.
units.
If Tom's units had came down to Prey's lane and Prey's came down to my lane in this instance, I don't think we would have had a reaction out of that top lane. And all you need is a few units to get down here. Eco gone. A few down here. Eco gone. And unfortunately, this one here results in just most of this eco going here.
I'm so sad right now that it's rookie 3 that has the spread out wind, and your honor who doesn't. Imagine that those stouts getting your honor's wind.
I mean, look at that player view there. Unfortunately, good on them. They're playing bar, so they've got my support. But Scuba Robinson just was not a probably experienced air player, and no scouting. I think they went for Shuriken players throughout the game and just predominantly stayed on the bottom of this map, which just did not help us, and we needed to win this lane. I mean, they were kept quite busy by this player. There is a gunslinger out. Shout out to Orat Tab. Perfect unit to clean this up and push back this attack gunslingers, I've had bad experiences with them against prey. We've got a short out actually. A gunslinger will beat a commander if it's microed properly with the range of 383 compared to the commander's D gun of much less than that at 300 minus a little. Anywho, yeah, nicely done there.
Considering that we've been talking about these chokes, you might be wondering why we haven't focused on blue and the fact that they pushed up there and they pushed up and won theirs. The fact is that the way that blue pushed this one up shouldn't have worked. It was
LLTs
they basically got up with their comm and 2 Centurions. That's not something that should ever really happen. So if they had done something to break this side that we could learn from, then we would have actually spent the game singing their praises. By the way, from other games, Odals is actually quite a good player. It's just that this one they happen to go up against someone who's never defended, who may never have defended this position before, and just did not manage to hold.
Pushing here again, Prey is coming down. Another attack on this lane. I do feel sorry for Rookie. He was attacked. Look at this fucking... excuse me. I'm going to have to edit that out. Beep.
No! God, please, no!
Yeah.
This is a problem. Air has been spotted, and it has been called, and the reactions from all of us is not good enough. So Twig has still got his whistlers stacked up. He's building a couple of nettles. His comm is still visible. They're all things that you need to they're all things you need to do better. I've given my units to Twig because he's on the offensive here, and it's easier to control them as a group. But unfortunately, just this big grouping means that so much extra damage is being done to these even before the bombers come a second time, and now the bombers are getting a mad hit on them. That's just so much damage done. Not many units lost, but it makes them really vulnerable to everything else.
10% each, 20% each, all red and orange in the bars there. So really badly micro by me. I need to spread those lines out instead of these stupid little individual clicks. And yeah.
I just want to point out something real small here. My Wolverines, I'm losing them to try and kill the Geo. The Geo that I don't know is there or not there because...
no scouting.
Is this where you were waiting for the smoke from the Geo popping before
I was
you
like,
moved
why
on?
isn't this thing exploding?
How many con turrets do they have healing this thing?
About 40 shots I got up into that spot.
We played 3 games this night, and spoiler, we lost them all. It was not a good night for us, and that is a prime example of where our heads were at. Sometimes you just got to turn the PC off after you lose one game, and that was that night for us. Just
look, I also think like these games were also close to being able to be swung the other way. I actually think that if we had more time, if one or two things had been different, if we had come up with a better answer to air, if the air player had helped us on the front line, if the bottom player had had more success in holding, because one of the big problems that happened was our top player Digit, who is Silver Chev's very, very strong player. We saw them in other games tonight as well. They did very, very well, and they were backed up. They were backed up by Oratab. Just this lane could have done phenomenally well, but blue came down, cut off the front line, and cut the head off of the snake, essentially. Red had to pull all the way back. They took a lot of damage. It was not a good time. Meanwhile, we're fart-arsing around in the top half of the map. Twig is Tank Tom, you're playing 1v1 islands. And this is one of the areas where, because of your rapid rise to OS 25, you are trying to
experience all of these different situations on my way here. So for me, this was a first of trying to work out what to do when you're against essentially a choked lane that's heavily defended. And I think
you're against more experienced players. So
done from this is learned. If we were to play this game again, say tomorrow, we'd probably make some different decisions in that rather than being 3 lanes next to each other, I would have left some units, had enough defense.
Of that.
And
there we go. Here's the thing happening that I was talking about. Sorry. In previous road games, we've talked about Tom's continuous building of wind on the front line and how it's very, very dangerous.
But look at
that
how I
was a
only lost
prime
a
example.
few rather than the entire mass.
Speaking of losing
And
units,
rather
throwing
than
Janus
reacting.
into
Yeah.
Pork. So really, Tom,
Janus
stayed
do
in
high
his lane.
damage.
This is what you need to do. If you're front lining in a lanes map and you're not going to get through, you just need to stop. Pork line is there. You've got knowledge of that gauntlet now. Build it. Some pork behind here. Get one constructor up here. You've even got some T2. You've got a Mauser there. So you can just keep everything alive here. Forget about that. And anything new that's gets built goes down here. And then this goes down here into this line. And that's how you win these types of games, is going for the win, not going to win against your player, going for the entire game win.
And that's one of those. It's actually quite funny. We say that attack was a bad attack. It gave them a lot of metal. The really funny thing is that if you hadn't turned those Janus around, they probably would have sniped the comm.
That was why I had the Janus, because I knew that once you've got about 5, if you can hit the comm, you'll probably kill it.
Yeah. But the reality is, in this situation, you are fighting into a position where you're going to have a massive disadvantage, because even if you do get the good shots off, you're going to take so much damage going up the ramp. So the true lesson from this top little island is to get just enough to survive, know that they're going to have spent a lot of money on defenses, and then come down and do something else. Because if your big attack that you had just there with all those Janus, if that had been able to go down even basically right now, in front of these Sheldons down Twig's lane, or even just defending me so that I could send these Sheldons down Twig's lane, I actually reckon we could have won here.
Hot tip,
big advantage
commanders
that we-
can degun. Tom, in the future, if you ever get sight of a gauntlet that's quick, especially when you get healing power like this, walk him up.
Oh yeah, you could totally degun that.
I did not even think of that at
Yeah.
all
You
during
play
this
King of the
game.
Hill.
Do you know what the funny thing is? We played this, we've watched the replay, we started casting the replay, then started again because we didn't do a great job. And only now are we realizing that you could have just walked your comm up to this corner and degunned.
This is bad what's happening here right now. So you've had a perfect response to your Sheldons and your Arbiters, and that is ticks. Really,
Yep.
the best thing against them is going to be LLTs, which your commander's putting up right now. But I've just lost everything to those bombing runs, and they just kept coming, and now our air players just sending one at a time fighters off of their lab into this lane here, and
Man,
they get shot out.
I don't think that
the
this
sky.
we didn't talk about this, but the positioning that the air player had his fighters in ran them close enough to this chainsaw that he was losing every unit that he built for
Yeah, there was a lot
several
that-
minutes.
And unfortunately, this
Not
player
from
here,
there.
Tiger's very distracted with this front line. Wow, that's a lot of units that aren't doing anything, by your honor.
The crazy thing is, we're actually going to see this push, and it's pushing into a couple of twin guards, a couple of LLTs, a comm, a handful of construction turrets, and a couple of thugs. Here we go. It's happening right now. I think it's happening now, and this position's going to hold in the middle. These walls are crazy, and the build turrets healing the thug is crazy.
Yeah, don't push into Pork if you can go around. Look, you got units. Guess what? They can traverse through all of this stuff here. They can go around
A
there.
fantastic example
Yep.
is what's going on
Oh, look, I
behind
drew a
this
lot
front
up.
line.
Yeah, like there's Tiger J has no units whatsoever. Like, or like, okay, he does have a couple, but he basically has no units.
And chain reacting.
And yet you're pushing the position where all the money has been spent. All your honor has to do is go up and help push Twig's lane, or help push Edron's lane. And this is what I want you to take away from this map. If you're in a lanes map, it is your responsibility to hold to the best of your ability. But if there isn't a way through, pick a different way through. And this is where we're going to insert a clip of all of my awesome plays from Tata Step.
Some of the other games that we
Yeah,
played this
the
evening.
Tar Step, whatever it happens to be. We still lost that one, but I
King's Assault
stand
was
by
one
my
of the
decision
best.
of moving lanes.
Yeah.
That was one of our big advantages, is because there's 3 of us. When you bring 2 to 3 of us to bear down a single lane, you can generally punch through. We didn't do that fantastically this game. It wasn't too far off, but it wasn't enough that we could pull the win out. And
Yeah.
one of the key things that we're doing through this is going back, looking at things, learning from them, and then using those lessons in future games.
Exactly. And look, the other half of it is that you will end up in positions where you like, it doesn't matter how good the three of us are, we'll end up in positions where there are games that we can't win. This one we didn't play well enough to know whether this was a game we couldn't have won, but with Blue doing so well on the bottom half, we would have had to have gotten the victory for our team before the 19-minute mark for it to have mattered. I think we could have done it if we'd made much better decisions, but I reckon it's something that we would be able to do when we finally reach that road to that 30 OS goal. Not at the moment. We're still improving.
Yep, 3 losses on this night, 13 OS loss between us. We should have turned those computers off after the first game. I remember from the first game, perfect scene of what the night looked like when you were doing very well, Pradith, and your commander went pop right in the middle of your army. Insert clip here.
Yeah, what? No, I definitely didn't do that. I did not blow up like 4,000 metal of my own units. That's not a thing.
And then, I mean,
don't clip that, Twig. Don't clip that and put that here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, prepare to see the swing of all swings in the game of all games. That's right, I'm about to make all of the money plays. As you can see, I've got my comm right up the front. We're going to see some amazing healing, some amazing... Oh, shit!
pray, game turned, can't make mistakes like that. These things happen, though. We did okay. We didn't do good enough to get the win on this one, and the same goes for 2 other matches that night. Not the best efficiencies in this game, just checking out the stats. Only Pradith on, I think it was 238%. Everyone else on our team are negative damage efficiency, so really bad compared to the other team. We did do reasonable damage, a few of us, but just not what you want to be seeing out of players like us. We had an off night.
Damn, I'm bloody excellent.
Sheldon's.
Who'd have thought?
Sheldon's.
Shut up! Shut up! It's all me. It's all me.
Yeah, and well,
I think-
just quick comment on that. Imagine if, like, you or Tom, you're not getting through the amount of pork that was both there. Imagine if you guys just commied your eco for a little bit in the game. Those
Oh
Sheldons
my
would have
god,
come
why
out.
didn't we do that?
Your Sheldons would have been out probably 4 or 5 minutes earlier, and there would have just been a roll through this player here through purple. And
What do you mean our Sheldons? Our T3 would have rolled through and we
No,
won
we
the
could have
game.
put arbiters on your lane, Tom.
could have done that?
Jesus, why did we not put arbiters
We
in
were
your lane?
asleep at the wheel this night that we played these games, and it just
Oh my
happens
God. All right.
sometimes. Let's wrap
Oh,
this
on that
one up.
note, on that bombshell, we'll see you next time.
Catch you guys.
See ya.